So for our next speaker, to keep things moving along here, because we're going to honor everyone's time, is we are going to have a great organizing guy. I really like this guy, actually. He gets things done. Ron Flores is coming up here. He has a group called Basta, and I touched on it already. What it does is it's a new way for us as conservatives to reach out and bring in the Latino community. And without the Latino community in California, it's going to be virtually impossible for us to win the state back. So I'm going to have Ron talk about it because he can talk a lot better than I can about it. But let's give a round of applause for Ron, and let's get him.
Hola, y buenas tardes. Hello? Anyway, I'm going to talk about Pano, because that's what this is all about, right? It's about Pano. Basta means enough. Enough of what? Everything that's going against us. Everywhere we go with our Basta hat, people ask me, what does it mean? And all I say, I've had enough. And they all agree. How did we get here? Because we don't have enough candidates like him. When he bowed out of the race, in 2 minutes I got on the phone and called Fred Whitaker. You know who that is, right? Yeah. I said, Fred, I just saw the first real politician courageous in Orange County politics. You need to do something for him. And he did. At the next Central Committee meeting, they did something for him. He got into our organization maybe a year ago. A Basta guy, Basta hat, Basta shirt. That's why we're going to support him. He's one of us. And I'm so glad Tony came. I kicked his butt for about 3 or 4 weeks. Gracie, Casey, Tony, I forget the other guy's name. I called every one of them. Does your word mean anything? Are you going to be like those other guys? Only one guy, Tony, came to play. Gates never called me back. And they all had the same BS. He's too young. He doesn't work. He doesn't have experience. They're ignorant. You know what Gen Z is? He's Gen Z. They're going to run the country pretty soon. We're focusing on Gen Z. The GOP is still trying to figure out why we got our butts kicked in the last election. The black and brown Gen Z people outvoted everybody 2-1. That's what happened. And when I asked them, you call up the GOP, do you have any Latino communities in Orange County? No. We've been there hundreds of times. Fred Whitaker used our hat, but they don't know about the Latino movement. And that's another reason we're going to help them. There's 20,000 Latinos in Huntington Beach. And I was surprised when I saw the geocoding. I thought they all lived down there at the Slater Slum. They don't. There's only about 5,000 or 6,000 there. Where do the rest of them live? All over. And here's the most important thing. Of those 20,000, over half of them required a Spanish reading ballot. What does that tell you? 2 things. They got money and they're Latinos. Basta is going to get them to vote for him. We are going to walk Huntington Beach and hit those people 3 times. Over there standing up is John Paul White. In Santa Ana, he walked 200 miles and handed out 50,000 flyers and got attacked by a dog and a rooster. That's a true story, by the way, too, because the same rooster chased me. It's about that big. It was huge. There's all kinds of stuff in Santa Ana. But anyway, that's why we're here. We're using my church. Let's give thanks to my church here for letting us use it. We're Lutherans. And there's 2 Hispanics in the church, me and another guy. Everybody else is German and that tall. But our church, listen to this, our church, every Christmas, we do a party for Latinos that are having a tough time in Santa Ana. We fill up cars full of gifts and we give to the people in Santa Ana. Our church right here, this place here does that. And they've allowed us to do it. But getting back to Pano, if you have a candidate that does what he did, you know he's going to be a straight shooter. Those other people, maybe, I don't know why they changed their mind, but it was a done deal. I'm going to back out and you're going to support me. Well, it doesn't mean support, it doesn't mean we're going to endorse him, we're just going to help him. Only one person, Tony. So you remember that. He's not going to do that. He's a real person. We're going to help him, and we're going to get him elected. And by the way, those people that won, some of them had no experience with a checkbook. And they're telling me he can't run he's been president of the college Republicans. He's got a soccer organization. He works. So all that is BS. Encourage you very much when it's time. He's the guy. When you get a phone call to come out and help us walk, our guys are going to call you. And we're going to hit those Hispanic people in Huntington Beach. That is going to be the difference, by the way. That is going to be the difference for him winning. Everybody agree with that? Yeah. So when we call you in Espanol, don't tell me no hablo Espanol. I don't care. You don't have to talk. You just got to hand stuff out. Knock on doors. We're going to call you. I'm going to challenge you. Let's put a Gen Z guy into the city council because they are the future. We don't have the numbers anymore. Right? Everybody know what I'm saying? Yeah. We don't have the numbers. We need to reach across the aisle. And that's what I tell the people in Santa Ana. When we go out and walk, they say to me, ¿Qué haces aquí? I've been living here 40 years. I've never seen a hillbilly come here or a redneck. By the way, those are conservatives. John Paul doesn't want me to call him a hillbilly. He wants to be called redneck.
I'm waiting for you.
But anyway, it was an honor for him reaching out to me to help him. We really want to help him. We want to make a statement. Because you're old, 80 or 90 years old, doesn't mean you know everything. Look what's going on in Congress right now. Yeah. The young guys, the 19 to 29-year-old people are just as smart as us, maybe smarter. They're definitely younger and have better ideas. We need new blood, don't we? Yeah. We need new blood, and he's the guy to make it happen in Huntington Beach, and we can do the whole county. Thank you all very much.
That's why we love Ron Flores. He is, the energy he brings is beautiful. All right. So, with that being said, I'm now going to kind of close off with my own little segment, my own little talk. And what I want to talk about is the Public Works Commission, right? So I serve on our Public Works Commission. And I serve on there, 6 other people. We all represent each of the council people. And we talk about, we focus on things that happen locally, right? Things that actually affect each and every one of you in Huntington Beach. So our roads, that goes through the Public Works, you know. The trees in our parks, that's the Public Works. When it comes to utilities, things like that, that's the Public Works. You know, one thing that I hear a lot from a lot of people is they say, when's my road going to be paved? Because we have this cycle where every year for 9 years, we go and we do a different part of the city. And the answer to that is it's coming. The last cycle of the 9 cycle happened this year, actually. And so everyone should now have a nice paved road. Things should be looking good. And it's finishing up in, I believe it's the end of October, so it's coming up really quick here, that it's going to be done for everybody. The other thing is we actually had a meeting today. We actually had a Public Works Commission meeting today, and kind of touching on what Ron was talking about. You know, when it comes to the politically correct way to do it is Oakview community, right? Because if I say Slider slums, then I'm going to get crucified. But yeah, the Oakview community. Today we actually used Caltrans dollars, so it didn't cost the city a dime, but we were able to invest that into the Oakview community to help with the rehabilitation of the streets, the arterials, the utilities there, all of those kind of things. So that way when people come into our city and they drive by the Oakview community, then things are looking good, things are looking nice there. And so that's one thing that we did. One thing that I'm really proud of that I personally was the author to bring forth when it comes to a motion, I made the motion, was for us to completely renovate our police dispatch center on Main Street. And I went into this place, right, and it was like a creepy dungeon. Like, I walked in here and I'm like, how are our service personnel working in here? It was so dark in there, I couldn't see anything. It was like cobwebs on the ceiling. I'm like, what is this place? And I asked somebody, I said, when was the last time anybody took care of this? And they said, well, 1965. I'm like, 1965? So I said, look, we got to do something about this. So I said, look, I went to the Public Works Commission. We used the money. We renovated the police dispatch center. It's completely being remodeled and changed. It officially got approved, not at the last city council meeting, but the meeting before that. So a couple of weeks ago, I was happy to say that passed unanimously. And by 7-0 vote, we are now renovating our police dispatch center. So. The other thing that I'm really happy with as well, and that I'm passionate about, is with our fiber optics. So a lot of things that I've really been pushing forward on the commission is I said we need to have fiber optics. We need to have a way to really bring us forward to the future. We have 5G, they say 6G is coming the next decade. And I said we have to have the infrastructure in place for us to be able to use all our devices, our Internet of Things devices, where everything connects to the internet and it just increases our productivity tremendously. And I said, well, one place to do that is the library. Because in the library, that's our core of information. That's where a lot of people go. They're able to get a lot of the information. And I was tired of going to the library, and it's like 3G, it's like they were stuck in like 2005 or something. I'm like, what's going on here? So I said, we need to have up-to-date fiber optics at the library. So now that's also been approved, that's coming, and also all the buildings in our government, our city hall, everything is being updated, modernized, and we're heading into the future. So I'm really happy to say that was accomplished as well. Other than that, I want to say that we've been focusing on parks. Every year we tackle different parks. I would say to a large degree, that's what got me going in 2022, is one of my origin stories is actually my best friend. He lives right across the street from Wardlow Park. And due to a high density development situation that broke out there, a lot of that park basically completely taken out and turned into crammed housing units, right? And that park was just so valuable. I cherished that park so much that I kind of dedicated my life after that to where I'm like, look, we gotta have the most beautiful, pristine parks. I live right next to a park, it's called Lagenbeck Park, right? And just recently we put in these beautiful trash receptacles at the park. So now, because so many people, because I walk my dog there like every other day, and so many people there, they walk their dogs. It's become like a dog park. I said, we gotta have trash receptacles in this park. We can't have people just, the little poop bags dropping poop. No, that's disgusting. I said, we gotta do something about that. And so now there's receptacles there along the pathway. People can put things away. So some of these things, they may not be the most like, oh, this is so cool, but at the end of the day, it affects everybody, and everybody appreciates it once you interact with it, right?
Yes.
So that's the kind of thing that I think should get more limelight as well, is these kind of situations where, what's our park, what's our street, what's our town center, what's our beach. Our beaches, of course, as well, we deal with. Making sure those are beautiful and pristine for our residents, and also for people that come into the city, that then invest in the city, that then allow our small businesses to thrive, because they're the backbone of our local economy.
Yes.
And so all of these things, I believe, are really at the core of our mission here, is to support those in a smart, conservative way, while not getting lost into crazy town land, you know what I mean? Not going into some crazy conspiracy theory land, and then also obviously not the left. I mean, the left is terrible. Let me talk about them for a second. With the far left, today, I couldn't believe it, right? I've been making these posts for the past week or 2 weeks online for this meeting, and it was very, it wasn't controversial at all. It was like, hey, we got the speakers, we're meeting at this church. And I was talking to Sonia about this actually earlier today. People online on Facebook were just, the left was losing their minds that conservatives like us could get together in a church. And people were like frothing and gnashing their teeth. They're like, how could you be meeting in a church? We need to shut this down. Some lady online said, I'm going to get the church to kick all of you out. You're not going to have your meeting. Yeah, okay. I guess that didn't happen, right? So clearly it's like we need to, stand strong against these people, their threats, all these things that happen. And one thing I'll commit to you is I don't back down, right? The fact that not only did I make it through college and then become more conservative, not only is that amazing in California, but I'll take it a step further, right? I was the executive director of over 500 college Republicans across the state of California, organizing on every major college campus across the state. And I was in charge back in 2019, and we fought the good fight right before the pandemic. I mean, we were always out there getting the message of conservatism out to Gen Z, to the younger generations, and that's something else that I can also bring to the table. Like Ron was saying, is it's essential that we tap into Gen Z, that we tap into millennials, that we bring these people in, and we don't just let them get their minds poisoned by, Snapchat news, how ridiculous is that? I've heard people tell me, I've asked people, I'm like, where do you get your information? Snapchat. I'm like, are you serious? You know what I mean? Like, these social media, monopolies, duopolies, whatever they are, they're totally just corrupting the minds of so many people. Yeah. And so we have to be able to fight back against that. I want to say this, and I want to touch on this before we go into a big Q&A with all our candidates. I want to say thank you all so much for coming out tonight, because the most precious resource is someone's time. I mean, that's the bottom line. Someone's time is the most finite thing they can possibly have. I mean, you can have money, you can have, your collectibles, whatever, but your time is always ticking, tick, 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 tick. And so for everybody to be here tonight, I tremendously appreciate that. We're going to be staying very active, very involved going forward. We have a lot of great ideas and plan for the future. We're going to keep in touch with everybody. I hope everybody's signed up at the front, and also at the same time, I have to make a plea as well here. I ask that if anybody could kindly donate in our tip jar out in the front as well, because what that helps us do is it covers for the pizza, it covers for the equipment, it covers for all the good things that we want to do. So I know that, Biden makes things tough, right? But at the end of the day, when we contribute, when we band together, we can change things so that way we can all be wealthy again. So, with that being said, I now want to bring up all the speakers that we have. So that's going to be Sonia, it's going to be Ron, and then I want to, this next session is going to be called Let Your Voice Be Heard. That's our slogan. And with that slogan, the reason why we came up with the Let Your Voice Be Heard slogan and segment is there's too many times where I personally, like I said earlier, I love all the other conservative groups, I respect them. I go to their groups, and it's like, we're going to hear a PowerPoint presentation from some guy for 2.5 hours in the dark, and no one's going to be able to ask any questions. I'm like, what is that? What country are we in? You know what I mean? So for me, it's like, I want to be able to have people talk. I want to be able to hear from everybody as much as we can. Obviously, there are time constraints, otherwise I would just say, let's be here all night. But, at the same time, let's open it up now to everybody. Ron, come on up here. Sonia, come on up. And let's open it up for it. Jesus, let your voice be heard.
Let your voice be heard.
Yep.
Thank you for watching.
Let's go, Brandon! Let's go, Brandon! Let's go!
This video has been edited by iMovie Lord. Lamb Tram.
Allah Akbar! Allah Akbar! Allah Akbar!
Có một diễn tham.
Càng nhảy nhiều càng têu, 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 têu.
Chiến binh sư đoàn nhảy dù.
Càng nhảy nhiều càng têu.
Quan càng to, cu càng teo mo.
Thằng lính dù nào nói khi nhảy dù chim không teo thằng đó xạo.
Mà đa số chúng nó nói xạo thiệt.